Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to my video series, Musings and Meditations. My name is Anna Mae. I use voice-based creative arts practice to integrate mindfulness, body wisdom, and soul expression. And in honor of Valentine's Day, I'm wearing red, and I'm also sharing 3 controversial ideas about love. Let's start with this notion of deserving. You receive the love you believe that you deserve. Now, on the mental level, on the intellectual level, you could say that that's true, but I think it goes deeper than that. I think it's less about deserve, and it's more about what you are conditioned to receive. Now, what is conditioning? I always think of conditioning in terms of going to the gym. You don't walk into a gym for the first time in years and lift a 200-pound weight. You start with the 10-pound and then the 20 and 50. You condition your body to expand your capacity to lift heavier and heavier weights. You condition your strength. With love, I think it's the same thing. If you grew up in a household where you were conditioned to see love as a source of strife or pain, or you had to manipulate your way into receiving love, or you had to behave in a way that felt fundamentally inauthentic in order to receive what felt like love, then your mind, body, and soul are conditioned to relate to love in that way. And you might, on a conscious level, say, oh, I am worthy of great love. And you may have all the cool mantras, but your nervous system and your bones and the way you move through life on a physical level, like the things that you notice, the people you interact with, the way you interact with people, all of that is part of your conditioning with how you give and receive energy. In this case, specifically the energy of love, whether it's friends and family, whether it's romantic, they all have specific kinds of conditioning. So regardless of what you might say you believe you deserve, your body tells the story and it keeps the score. Shout out to Bessel van der Kolk. So if you notice that you have patterns that speak to receiving love that is less than what you think you deserve, what you believe you deserve, then you know that there is space for you to recondition your heart, to recondition your nervous system, recondition your beliefs. And again, beliefs live in the body, not just in the mind. Number two, love is selfless. It can be. I don't think that's the default, though. I think for humans to have stuck around for as long as we have, we've had to put a heavy emphasis on self-preservation. And oftentimes behaviors of self-preservation can feel like they're at odds with behaviors exhibiting love. So what is love? It's bonding, it's affection, it's a sense of loyalty, it's a sense of giving to the future that which is greater than the present moment. It can look like revering the past, all that brought you here to this moment. So there's a selflessness in that sense, but unfortunately, selflessness is a dangerously close cousin to martyrdom. And martyrdom is not sustainable. Selflessness existing within a larger cultural context where that martyrdom isn't appreciated or revered, honored, is not healthy or sustainable. Like the Mother Teresas or Fannie Lou Hamers of the world, they're an exception, maybe not Mother Teresa, maybe not the best example, but you get my point. They are the exceptions for a reason. Like the amount of energy it takes to hold that much light for humanity while receiving relatively little in return. Very much the exception and not the rule. So rather than thinking of love as this selfless phenomenon, I prefer to think of it as this mutual interdependence, this mutually beneficial phenomenon, this symbiosis where the best in me meets the best in you, and the worst in me is healed and integrated through my interactions and compassion that you're able to hold for me and that I'm able to hold for you to an extent. Now, there are certain wounds or challenges, difficulties that individuals experience that, there may be some healing that happens within the context of the relationship. And again, talking about romantic, friendship, or family, or even among strangers, a really divinely inspired moment with a stranger at a bus stop can shift the trajectory of your life. There are issues that come up that are beyond the scope of what can be healed within the relationship, largely because the other party, the other person may not be equipped to support you in that kind of way. Doesn't mean the person doesn't love you. It just means that you may need to bring that burden to the doorstep of somebody who is qualified to support you, like a therapist, like a coach, like a teacher, and taking a particular kind of course or being in a support group for people who are dealing with the issue that you're dealing with. And that doesn't mean that the person that you love is selfish. It just means that there are limitations. There are parameters. Selfless doesn't mean I let you dump all your emotional stuff on me beyond what I have the capacity to hold, and vice versa with you. That actually would not be healthy. That would not optimally serve that relationship. A lot more to say about that with codependence. We'll stop that there. Longer video in another context, all about codependency. And I'll also be getting to how all of this relates to creative arts practice, how this relates to creative expression. Third one, that love is closely related to the selfless thing too. That love is unconditional. No, it isn't. Love is not unconditional. Many would argue that the love between a parent and a child is often the purest, most unconditional love. If you've ever spoken to the parent of a hardcore criminal who's done some really heinous things, that may change your view. But you don't even have to take it that far. You can look to your own life. What are the things you've done that have imbued you with a sense of guilt or shame? Guilt and shame, they're all about barriers to fully accessing love within yourself. And in my line of work, doing creative arts practice with individuals as well as groups, as well as institutions, one thing that comes up a lot is I feel blocked. I feel this energetic block. There's so much that I want to express. There's so much I want to get out of me, but I'm afraid of what people will think. I'm afraid of how I'll sound or how I'll look, or what I'm afraid of stepping into my power in that way, because then I have to hold myself accountable to this new way of being that I'm conditioning myself into. And I say I want it, but I don't really want the responsibility of standing in my power, all of that. Now, many would argue that the pure love between a parent and child, that is unconditional. Is it? How do we explain children in foster care? How do we explain children that are sold off by their parents? I mean, there's all kinds of really unloving behavior between people who you would think there would be unconditional love there. But the love between a parent and a child is not a universal constant by any stretch of the imagination. If you've experienced unconditional love from the caretakers in your life with the lived experience of love, That is such an immense privilege to not take for granted. There are so many people who grow up in neglect and abuse, and the people who you would expect to be the ones to love them unconditionally didn't, for any host of reasons. They never experienced love themselves, etc. Long story short, love is not universally unconditional in any sphere, any capacity, whether it be friends, whether it be family, whether it be romantic, whether it be your relationship with yourself. It's a great ideal, and there are people who do experience it, but it's more, I won't say it's more the exception. It's much more complicated and nuanced than just saying, oh, love is unconditional and everybody should just expect unconditional love. Oh, no, no, no. I do believe that love thrives best in a space of interdependence and mutual benefit. We don't want any doormats or tyrants. We want a healthy feedback loop, power exchange, giving and receiving. How all of this relates to creative expression. So much of the blockage, from what I've seen working with clients, so much of the blockage around creative expression comes from having your heart closed. I've experienced this in my own life, and it's an ongoing process to open my heart and share more of myself and be more vulnerable and feel more exposed, and all those feelings and sensations that come with opening your heart and letting people see what's inside. All that vulnerability and authenticity, all that fun, terrifying stuff. But the more practice, the more we condition ourselves by opening our hearts, particularly through the voice. Like the voice-heart connection is so powerful. It is such a great way to reorient yourself with a more loving foundation, to condition every fiber of your being, mentally, physically, physiologically, energetically, and then of course in your external experience of life as you interact with people in your day-to-day. All those different levels of experiencing love happen through conditioning yourself. How do you condition yourself? Through practice. Daily meditation. I love to do daily sound meditations, mantra meditations, some kind of ritual that gets you in touch with that core of love that is always there, available for you. No matter how deeply buried it might feel under layers of hurt and woundedness and defending yourself from more wounding and despair of the past, fear of the future. Among all of that muck, underneath is that core of love that you always have access to. So sing it out. Sing to that love. Express that love. Find what speaks to you and build a practice out of that. And I'll share some practices more specifically in future videos. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next Musings and Meditations. Bye.